welcome to the next panel. We'll be discussing the Balkans, investment activity in the Balkans, and how it's all shaping up right now. It's an area, it's a part of the world which draws a lot of business activity from Greece. It also has enormous interest economically, politically, culturally. And all of these things join together, and of course, all of these things play a role in investor decisions. We have here with us today 4 leading experts who can tell us about what's happening right now, can help us understand a little bit better about the trends, who is buying what is the smart money doing, and what perhaps we can expect for this year coming up. Let me start off by introducing from over on the edge there, Steve Froustis, Head of Capital Markets, Partner at Colliers, Serbia. Welcome, Steve. Majlind Lazimi, Managing Director, Horwath, yes. Horwath, Albania. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we've also got Rossen, Tenev, CEO of I&B Real Estate, a member of Prodea Investments Group, Bulgaria. Welcome, Rossen.
Thank you.
And Panos Danos, who is the CEO of Danos Real Estate, an alliance member of BNP Paribas Real Estate. Welcome to the panel.
Thank you.
Well, gentlemen, the Balkans is always an area where everyone talks about it. And, well, prior to the crisis in Greece, everyone was investing. So I think it's of enormous interest to help us understand what's going on right now. Steve, you're based in Serbia.
Yes.
What can you tell us about what's happening right now, the broader climate, the mood, the investment mood right now?
First of all, thank you, Stelios, for your kind introduction, and greetings from myself to the participants of Prodexpo North 2023, and also to my fellow esteemed panelists. I'd like to take the opportunity to highlight 3 areas which will be important for our further discussion, I think also between ourselves. Serbia in general is a little bit of a misrepresented country and misunderstood. And in Greece, we always familiarize ourselves with these hordes of Serbian people coming on vacation to northern Greece and Chalkidiki. But the country is a lot more than that. And I have been living and working in Serbia for the last 13 years. And I want to share a little bit some of my experiences that may also help, first of all, the Greek investors to look at opportunities in Serbia, but more importantly, the possibilities for you to attract Serbian investments, especially in the real estate sector in Greece. So I want to tie a little bit Greece and Serbia, how Serbia is today, and then also Serbia and the real estate market, highlighting more our current day interest today and for the panelists. So Serbia has a long-standing historic, cultural, and religious and economic ties with Greece. In terms of history, one noteworthy location is the Rigas Fereos Museum, which actually was inaugurated by Karolos Papoulias many years ago. It actually involved the location where the Greek revolutionary was jailed and subsequently killed by the Ottoman Empire. And this is in Belgrade, in a very, very strategic location and very, very important for the Greek population and also for the Serbian population there. Also, during World War I, the exiled Serbian government was actually located in Corfu, where they continued to fight for the entire part of World War I next to the Greek forces. And there's also a very big cemetery of the soldiers of Serbia that are still in the Corfu cemetery. In terms of religion, it's a long-standing saying in Serbia that they consider the Greeks to be the Orthodox brothers. And I have felt this, so I can attest to this statement, and they consider us to be much, much more than just people next door to us or for them coming to vacation in Greece. They really have a positive opinion of us. They think highly of us, and this actually helps a lot in terms of business. It opens up doors, people are more relaxed, and this can facilitate major investments in the country just because we are Greek. In terms of economic ties, outside of the normal trade cooperations between the two countries, there has been, for many, many decades, Greece has been one of the leading foreign investors in the country. So there has been, in the past, a lot of influence that we could have used, namely in the financial sector. National Bank of Greece, Alpha Bank, Piraeus Bank were there up until 2018, and Eurobank was there up until last Friday with the announcement of their sale of their subsidiary in Serbia. Also in manufacturing, Alumil, one of the great companies of northern Greece, is present there with 2 facilities. In the food sector, Tsipita is also present. In retail, Veropoulos and Jumbo has a very big presence there. And also in the hospitality sector, where Hyatt Regency is present in Belgrade, which belongs to Lamsa, and also the Metropole Palace, which is in Belgrade, belonging to the Daskaladonakis family. In terms of hospitality, it's important to mention that the Serbs see Greece as their destination of choice. There are more than 1 million Serbian tourists that are visiting Greece every year, and predominantly they're coming to Thessaloniki and to Chalkidiki. This is a huge weapon and opportunity for all of us in Greece to be able to tap this community and their love for our country and our heritage for the future. Modern-day Serbia. The country has a population of around 7 million people. It's concentrated in 3 large cities, which is in Belgrade, in the center of the country, Novi Sad in the north, and Niš in the south. The country is financially stable and healthy for being a small non-EU country. It has a GDP of around 54 billion, which is growing 2 to 3% annually. Its inflation is around 16%, again, influenced during the past period with high energy and food prices. Unemployment is around 9%, but its public debt to GDP is only around 60%. So this means a lot for a foreign investor coming into the country where they're going to invest. One of the major elements in Serbia's turnaround and in their growth has been their ability to attract foreign direct investments. Through macroeconomic and financial stability and also structural reforms, they have been able to attract 60% of all of the GDP, all of the FDI that is going to the Western Balkan areas. This means that in the last 5 years, they have gotten 18.6 billion euros from foreign direct investments. It's a very small country. 18 billion means a lot. When you have 4 billion euro coming in every year to your country, which are going towards infrastructure projects, which are going to real estate, which are going to manufacturing, and in other areas as well. So they have been able to portray a stable environment, attracting foreign direct investments, which also leads to prosperity of the Serbian people and the standard of living. Real estate. I think you'll be surprised with some of the things that I'll be telling you, because also when I went to Serbia, people were telling me, where are you going to this bombarded country? You're going to the Stone Ages. And in fact, while I was working in the financial sector, we had financed the first shopping centers in Serbia even before the mall existed after the Olympics in Athens. So there are phenomenal opportunities and developments, especially in the real estate sector in Serbia, that no one is aware of. So I would just like to highlight a few, and just to be able to facilitate the discussion.
If you could just point out 1 or 2, and then we'll move
That's
along.
It. Belgrade Waterfront. This is the equivalent Ellinikon project, which is being developed in Serbia during the last 5 years. It is a joint venture project between the Serbian state and the Amar Group from the UAE. It is 3 billion euros. It's involving more than 1.8 million square meters of development for retail, for office, and also for hospitality. Huge. No one will believe that this is going on in such a small country, ahead of its times. In the office, we've had considerable transactions, and no one again could believe that a very big group like GTC could sell 11 office buildings with more than 120,000 square meters to a Hungarian fund, Indotech, for 270 million euro. Retail. The largest shopping center in Southeast Europe is currently operating since 2020 in Belgrade. It's the Galeria Shopping Center, 93,000 square meters. And it is a replica of the Dubai Mall.
Can I just jump in right there? So we have a fair bit of key investments taking place in Serbia in different uses there. My question is, what is it that they're doing there that's attracting this interest and this investor interest? Now, in order to do this, there's obviously something that's going right. Panos, now you're also active in Serbia.
Yes,
You opened up there as a number of years pre-crisis.
absolutely.
And you're also in Thessaloniki and Cyprus, right?
We are in Cyprus, in Greece, and we also have offices in Belgrade, Serbia since 2008. So it's almost 14 years. When we first went there, is what you said before. It was a destroyed country. A people of 7 million people was bombarded daily by the strongest military alliance in the world, NATO. But I found people there that they wanted to progress. They wanted to leave behind the damages,
And move
the
on.
war, and move on.
Okay, now Steve gave us some very interesting names and figures on what's happening right now. Why is it that investors are making these moves in Serbia? I mean, you know, it's got a mixed past. You need to look beyond a number of things in order to do business in Serbia. But people are. What do you think?
First, the reason is that they make money out of that market. All investors, whenever they go, they want to make money. In Serbia, indeed, they make money. It's twofold. First, there is demand for new projects, but there is not that much know-how how to do those projects. That is why we have a lot of direct foreign investment into the country. The second reason is that the government is investment friendly. You mentioned before the Belgrade waterfront, which is indeed an Ellinikon right on Savas River, created before even Ellinikon was given to tender in order to be developed. So they were ahead of us to create an Ellinikon in their country. The government there, in order to convince the foreign investors to come and do the project, they gave the land for free. So basically the investors had only to do the construction, had only the construction cost. Of course, thereafter, there would be benefits, money for both sides, the government of Serbia and the investor and the developer. And also, the country now has a unique development, a unique investment, which is a part of the engine that creates more investments, more advertisement, more attraction for the country as such.
You also deal in residential. Residential is of enormous interest to everyone. There's lots of changes taking place. Greece, Europe, all over the place. Very briefly, what's going on in residential there?
Two things. We mentioned again Belgrade waterfront. The price there reached 10,500 euro per square meter. There was a 385 square meter apartment that was recently sold for 2.5 million euros. It's prices that we see also in Ellinikon now here in Athens, in Greece, in Athens, and even higher. The prices for residential accommodation is around 3,000 to 4,000 euro per square meter. Prices are going up because demand is increasing.
Let's move to another part of the Balkans. Let's move to Bulgaria, Rossen. What's the mood like in Bulgaria now? The investment mood. It's a very significant partner with Greece, and we often underestimate the significance of the country in trade and in business with Greece. What's going on right now? It's how can we describe investor sentiment?
Well, I'll prefer to continue in Greek, if you don't mind. Αυτό που ήθελα να επισημάνω σαν χαρακτηριστικά του επενδυτικού κλίματος στη Βουλγαρία αυτή τη στιγμή είναι ότι η χώρα συνεχίζει να εντυπωσιάζει με τα μακροοικονομικά χαρακτηριστικά της, με τις παραμέτρους που δηλώνει και φυσικά παρακολουθούνται με προσοχή από τους πιθανούς επενδυτές. Μετά από σχεδόν 15 χρόνια μιας σταθερής οικονομικής ανάπτυξης, σήμερα ακόμη και παρά τις πιθανές δυσκολίες, όχι πιθανές πραγματικές δυσκολίες που υπήρχαν όχι μόνο στην περιοχή ενώ και την πανδημία, αλλά και την επίδραση του πολέμου στην Ουκρανία, στην περιοχή των Βαλκανίων, η χώρα συνεχίζει αυτή την σταθερή οικονομική πορεία που εξεντήλωνε κατά τη διάρκεια όλης αυτής της χρονικής περίοδου. Εγώ θα ήθελα να είμαι λίγο πιο συγκεκριμένος ό,τι αφορά την αγορά ακινήτων, επειδή αυτό είναι το αντικείμενο του πάνελ μας και στη μετάβαση από την αναζήτηση ευκαιριών στην δημιουργία αξιών. Και θα ήθελα να μοιραστώ με το αξιότιμο κοινό κάποια στοιχεία, κάποια χαρακτηριστικά της αγοράς εμπορικών ακινήτων. Βεβαίως υπάρχει μια ιδιαιτερότητα η οποία νομίζω ότι ισχύει για τις περισσότερες χώρες στα Βαλκάνια, ότι οι μεγάλες αναπτύξεις, ότι τα σπουδαία projects στον τομέα των ακινήτων είναι κυρίως συγκεντρωμένα στις πρωτεύουσες. Το ίδιο ισχύει και τη Βουλγαρία βέβαια, όπου η Σόφια αποτελεί το κύριο σημείο, η κύρια πόλη, όπου διαδραματίζονται οι περισσότερες ενδιαφέρουσες εξελίξεις στον τομέα των ακινήτων. Αυτό που μπορώ να πω για την αγορά των εμπορικών ακινήτων είναι ότι τη τελευταία δεκαετία περίπου η αγορά διήνυσε πάλι μια περίοδο ραγδαίας ανάπτυξης σε συνδυασμό με την γενικότερη οικονομική ανάπτυξη της χώρας. Επειδή τα εμπορικά ακίνητα χωρίζονται σε κυρίως δύο κλάδους, στα γραφεία και στα retail, στους εμπορικούς χώρους, αυτό που μπορώ να παραθέσω σε συγκεκριμένα στοιχεία είναι ότι σήμερα η Σόφια διαθέτει περίπου 2,5 εκατομμύρια τετραγωνικά μέτρα σύγχρονους γραφειακούς χώρους και περίπου λίγο παραπάνω από 400.000 τετραγωνικά μέτρα σύγχρονους εμπορικούς χώρους. Αυτό που θα μπορούσα να μοιραστώ μαζί σας σχετικά με την δημιουργία αξίας είναι το γεγονός ότι όλα αυτά τα projects εξελίχθηκαν και υλοποιήθηκαν την τελευταία δεκαετία, που σημαίνει ότι σε αυτά εφαρμόστηκαν οι πιο σύγχρονες αντιλήψεις για σχεδιασμό, για τεχνική κατάρτιση, τεχνολογία, και αυτό καθιστά αυτά τα projects πράγματι σύγχρονα και ανταποκρινόμενα στις απαιτήσεις των χρηστών, των πιθανών μισθωτών τους. Ένα δεύτερο σκέλος που είναι επίσης πολύ σημαντικό είναι η ποιότητα της εκμετάλλευσης αυτών των γραφειακών ή εμπορικών χώρων. Αξιοσημείωτο είναι ότι η Βουλγαρία μετά από αρκετές προσπάθειες κατάφερε να διαμορφωθεί σαν έναν πόλο έλξης επιχειρήσεων από τους πιο γρήγορα αναπτυσσόμενους τομείς της οικονομίας, IT και BPO. Σήμερα η Σόφια είναι πράγματι ένας κόμβος όπου δραστηριοποιείται μεγάλος αριθμός επιχειρήσεων σε αυτούς τους δύο κλάδους και περίπου 50% των σύγχρονων γραφειακών χώρων αξιοποιούνται ακριβώς από τέτοιες εταιρείες. Φυσικά αυτό εγκυμονεί και κάποιους κινδύνους, έχοντας υπόψη ότι αυτές οι επιχειρήσεις είναι σχετικά ευέλικτες και δεν δένονται πάρα πολύ με συγκεκριμένο περιβάλλον, αλλά εδώ παίζει σημαντικό ρόλο όχι μόνο η ποιότητα των κτηριακών εγκαταστάσεων που υφίστανται, αλλά και το ευρύτερο οικονομικό περιβάλλον, το οποίο κρίνεται σαν ελκυστικό. Και αυτό αναφέρεται και στη φορολογία και στο επίπεδο ζωής το οποίο μπορεί να έχει ένας εργαζόμενος σε μια τέτοια εταιρεία. Καθώς συγκεκριμένα η Σόφια προσφέρει τα πλεονεκτήματα μιας ευρωπαϊκής πρωτεύουσας, ό,τι και να σημαίνει αυτό με τη σχετικότητα της έκφρασης αυτής, με κόστος το οποίο είναι σχετικά χαμηλότερο σε σύγκριση με άλλες πόλεις, όχι μόνο στην περιοχή μας. Οπότε, πράγματι, μπορούμε να πούμε ότι η αγορά γραφειακού χώρου της Σόφιας σήμερα μπορεί να παρουσιάσει επενδυτικές ευκαιρίες, οι οποίες δεν είναι απλά και μόνο ευκαιρίες, δεν είναι κάτι το οποίο μπορεί να μας φέρει κάποια ιδιαίτερη υπεραξία. Είναι και κάτι το οποίο μπορεί να διασφαλίσει αυτή την αξία στο χρόνο.
Πολύ ωραία. And on that is what I want to ask, move on to our next topic, is the approach investors have to these markets. Let's look at Albania for a little bit, Majlind.
Yes.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in tourism too, from what I was reading the other day. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in the real estate market, and then we'll open it up towards the Balkans, touching on what Rossen mentioned. So,
Yeah, I agree with all panelists. So, by the way, I'm very happy to be here today. Eventually, I think the best wording or that would somehow emphasize what is happening is, I think, is what is going on tourism revenge. So I think post-pandemic somehow has fully rebounded in Albania when it comes to tourism. You can see the figure is one of the best performer countries in Europe. Of course, we started with a very, very small, low base, but nevertheless, I think the truth is that now we have a lot of presence from international brands that are actually very much interesting in Albanian market. Real estate sector as such is booming in many figures, double digits increase. So I think overall Albania now is in a way welcoming what has been missing for many years due to many geopolitical causes or reasons. But what's happening, I think, is a general trend now in the whole Western Balkans. I mean, this positive vibe of European integration somehow has helped. Secondly, I think it's important that bringing back to what we call connectivity agenda. So it's a bit of more interest now from European community, but international investors to see this part of Europe a little bit, let's say, trying to catch up with the rest of Europe. And I think this is the general trend. But Albania, as I said, in the real estate market, it's doing really fine. There are almost half of the investments are done from people, non-residents, which means either Albanians are living abroad, but even foreign investors are looking at the Albanian market. If I can compare, for example, looking at the figures from Belgrade, from Serbia, we are at the moment having at least half of the prices. So you can see, besides Tirana, that now it's going, let's say, an average price of, in a very good places, 3,000, 3,500 euros square meter. But when it comes to the southern part of Albania, which somehow is very resembling to the Greek Riviera, I think still the potential is there. So the moment the prices are still low, comparatively low with the regional countries, is 2,000, 2,500 euros square meter, which is, I think, a fantastic opportunity for those investors that want to see basically a Mediterranean country with the same kind of cuisine, with the same, beauty and attractions, and cheaper. So I think this is one of the things that, and what is the new slogan now for Albania is, all you need is here. So I think this is the best, I would say, motto that would encapsulate what is happening.
I'll open this up, and whoever from the four of you can answer. What's the, there is volatility in the Balkans. It is cheap, and it's often seen as an area where aggressive investors can hop in on a short-term basis, get in, get out, maximize profits. How much has that changed? And this is why we referred to the topic of from building a longer to building value. What kind of shift are we seeing in the investor profile of people active, of investors active in the Balkans? The question's open to all of you.
Basically, what changed is that we don't, it doesn't work that way anymore. We have institutional investors, talking about Serbia. We have international brands establishing themselves and operating in Serbia. To give you a few names, we have Technomania, which is a local retailer of house appliances. It's very big, it's local, but it's very big in Serbia. It's got 7 stores and also 30,000 square meters of logistic space. We have companies coming from Israel, companies coming from Canada, from Austria, from Germany, from Turkey, that they have a track record in their countries and they are interested to invest mid to long term in Serbia, and they do so, and they do so successfully. So to round up, there is no room for short-term investors in Serbia. I'm not sure whether it has been, but what I know from my experience since 2008, there is no such room for amateurs.
Very interesting. Do the investors that invest, that take a position in these markets, view the countries individually, or do they view them as a region?
Αυτό είναι ένα πολύ σημαντικό θέμα το οποίο θα ήθελα και εγώ να θίξω πάνω στην συζήτηση για την ελκυστικότητα της εκάστοτε χώρας ως προς τους επενδυτές. Έτσι έχουν διαμορφωθεί οι πολιτικές καταστάσεις σήμερα που σε έναν σχετικά περιορισμένο χώρο της Ευρώπης έχουμε 8 ή 9 ανεξάρτητες χώρες. Αυτό σημαίνει ότι κάθε μία από αυτές δεν μπορεί να έχει ένα ιδιαίτερα μεγάλο μέγεθος οικονομικό. Οπότε, αν παρακολουθήσουμε την εξέλιξη και την ανάπτυξη της εκάστοτε αγοράς από επενδυτικής προοπτικής, σαφώς θα παρατηρήσουμε ότι οι εξαιρετικά μεγάλοι θεσμικοί επενδυτές, οι πολυεθνικές επενδυτικές επιχειρήσεις, εύκολα μπορούν να αγνοήσουν την περιοχή μας. Εύκολα μπορούν να αγνοήσουν την περιοχή μας. Εκεί που κάθε μία από τις χώρες μας μπορεί να δείξει κάτι ελκυστικό, αυτό πάντα θα συγκρίνεται με άλλες περιοχές, είτε πιο κοντινές είτε πιο μακρινές, οι οποίες θα φαίνονται πιο κατάλληλες σαν μεγέθη για τις επενδυτικές τους αποφάσεις. Εκεί που πιστεύω ότι θα μπορούσε να βρεθεί το ιδιαίτερο έλκυστο, το ιδιαίτερο βάρος της περιοχής μας, είναι ακριβώς η αντιμετώπιση της περιοχής μας σαν έναν ενιαίο χώρο για τους επενδυτές. Οι χώρες των Βαλκανίων σήμερα παρουσιάζουν μάλλον κάθε μία από αυτές τα δικά της θετικά και ελκυστικά σημεία. Ο συνδυασμός, η συνεργασία, η ενδεχόμενη ένταξη των Δυτικών Βαλκανίων στην Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση θα βοηθούσε πάρα πολύ στην διαμόρφωση ενός ενιαίου επενδυτικού χώρου, όπου σε κάθε περιοχή και σε κάθε χώρα αντίστοιχα θα υπάρχουν ευκαιρίες οι οποίες θα εκμεταλλεύονται ανάλογα με τις περιστάσεις και με τα συμφέροντα του εκάστοτε επενδυτή. Αλλά εκεί πιστεύω ότι αυτό θα τονώσει ιδιαίτερα την ελκυστικότητα της περιοχής στο σύνολό της.
Last question.
Yes.
For either of the two of you. What kind of activity are we seeing on your patch from Greek investors? Start off with Steve.
Look, as I mentioned initially, Greece, especially in Serbia, was one of the leading foreign investors in the country for many, many years.
Can we expect anything coming up that will be new?
Look, we are hoping that finally, after the mnemonia, as we call them, are over, I think that strategically Greece needs to be in the Balkans. So there's influence, there's a history, and there are opportunities. Again, the Greek companies need to be solid, they need to be healthy. It's unfortunate that the Greek banks were forced to retreat into only Greece. Nonetheless, there are large financial institutions that can finance and fund all major projects. Lambda also has a huge portfolio in Serbia. So equivalent project of Ellinikon, they could also do in Belgrade if they want. They already have the land. So there are still opportunities, and I believe that as Greece is coming out of the tunnel, and with some stability and maybe some geographical and regional resolution of disputes, which also would involve Serbia and what is being discussed with Kosovo today, it will allow business people to take a calculated risk and make a profit. Because honestly, I think this is the last region that still has such a growth potential and a margin.
Yes, if I can combine both questions. So first, I think Western Balkans does not have luxury to be considered as a single separated market. It should be considered as one when it comes especially to expose their potentials towards institutional or private institutional investors. Secondly, I think at the moment, even in tourism, when it comes to sustainable tourism, which I think is the real question, whether finding a balance between short-termism of real estate in terms of residential commercials, vis-a-vis hospitality, which of course it gives some kind of long-term perspective. I think that is a key issue that should be tackled by both private sector and public sector to provide the necessary regulations. I mean, we saw today in the morning there was the panel regarding the listed buildings, which I think is very important topics in all our countries. And thirdly, I would say that eventually we need to have, rather than competition between our markets, cooperation. Because I think, let's take an example when it comes to our tourism package towards distant markets like China, India. It is impossible that each one of our countries to have promoting its own destination per se in itself. it should be a joint kind of promotion of the whole destination of the Western Balkans, because nevertheless we have the same culture, the same history, and taking into account the relationship with the Greek companies. I mean, it's a pity that we have, as Steve said, few banks now, no banks in Albania from Greek banks at the moment. But on the other side, we have other sectors where Greek investors are quite present in Albania. And I do believe that, if I can give you just a number, still 35% of people traveling abroad from Albania, they go to Greek islands, to Greek, let's say, coastline, which is double of what people choose to go to Turkey, for example. So we still believe that there's a synergy between our countries, and we have to take the best examples of the best investors to bring it to the region. And it should be a bit of process here. I mean, there's no any shortcut, but I think the track is right. The only thing is to put the right strategy in place, the right investor sectors where the investors should put the money, and thirdly, to have a package of investment opportunities as a whole region rather than specific countries in itself.
Very interesting, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's move on to the next panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.